Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, everyone. I'll start with prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chevam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirate Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nastike. So we are reading from Canto 8, chapter 24, Matsya, the Lord Fish Incarnation, text 46. The king said, by the grace of the Lord, those who have lost their self-knowledge since time immemorial, and who, because of this ignorance, are involved in a material conditional life full of miseries, obtain the chance to meet the Lord devotee. I accept that Supreme Personality of Godhead as the Supreme Spiritual Master. In the hopes of becoming happy in this material world, the foolish conditioned soul perform fruitive activities that result only in suffering. But by rendering service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one becomes free from such false desire for happiness. May my Spiritual Master cut the knot of false desire from the core of my heart. Text 48. One who wants to be free of material entanglement should take to the service of spiritual Supreme Personality of Godhead and give up the contamination of ignorance involving pious and impious activities. Thus, one regained his original identity just as a block of gold or silver shed all dirt and become purified when treated with fire. May that inexhaustible Supreme Personality of Godhead become our spiritual master, for he is the original spiritual master of all other spiritual masters. Text 49. Neither all demigods nor the so-called gurus nor all other people either independently or together can offer mercy that equals even 1/10,000 of yours. Therefore, I wish to take shelter of your lotus feet. Text 50. As a blind man, being unable to see, accepts another blind man as his leader, people who do not know the goal of life accept someone as a guru who is a rascal and a fool, but we are interested in self realization. Therefore, we accept you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as our spiritual master. For you are able to see in all direction and are omniscient like the sun. Text 51. A materialistic so called guru instructs his materialistic disciple about economic development and sense gratification. And because of such instruction, the foolish disciple continue in the materialistic existence of ignorance. But your lordship gives knowledge that is eternal, and the intelligent person receives such knowledge is quickly situated in his original constitutional position. Text 52. My lord, you are the supreme well wishing friend of everyone, the dearmost friend, the controller, the super soul, the supreme instructor, and the giver of supreme knowledge, and the fulfillment of all desire. But although you are within the heart, the foolish, because of lusty desire in the heart, cannot understand you. Text 53. O Supreme Lord, for self realization I surrender unto you, who are worshipped by the demigods as the supreme controller of everything. By your instruction, exposing life purpose, kindly cut the knot from the core of my heart and let me know the destination of my life. Text 54. Sukdev Goswami continued, when Satyavrata had thus prayed to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who had assumed the form of a fish, the Lord, while moving in the water of inundation, explained to him the absolute truth. Text 55. The Supreme Personality of Godhead thus explained to King Satyavrata the spiritual science known as Sankhya Yoga, the science by which one distinguish between matter and spirit. In other words, Bhakti Yoga. Along with the instruction contained in the Puranas, the old histories, and the Samhitas, the Lord explained himself in all this literature. Text 56. While sitting in the boat, King Satyavrata, accompanied by the great saintly persons, listened to the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in regard to self-realization. These instructions were all from the eternal Vedic literature. Thus, the king and sages had no doubt about the absolute truth. Text 57. At the end of last induction, the Supreme Personality of Godhead killed the demon named Hayagriv and delivered all the Vedic literature to Lord Brahma. When Lord Brahma awakened from the sleeping, text 58, King Satyavrata was illuminated with all the Vedic knowledge by the mercy of Lord Vishnu, and in this period he has now taken birth as Vaivasvata Manu, the son of the sun god. Text 59. This story concerning the great king Satyavrata and the fish incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu is a great transcendental narration. Anyone who hears it is delivered from the recitation of sinful life reactions, delivered from the reactions of sinful life. Text 60. One who narrates this description of the Matsya incarnation and King Satyavrata will certainly have all his ambitions fulfilled, and he will undoubtedly return back to Godhead. Text 61. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Supreme Personality of Godhead, who pretended to be gigantic fish, who restored the Vedic literature to Lord Brahma when Lord Brahma awakened from his sleep, and who explained the essence of Vedic literature to King Satyavrata and the great saintly persons. Thus, and the uh, Bhaktivedanta purport of 8th Canto, 24th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Matsya, the Lord Fish Incarnation. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
So much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Sri Krishna Raj Prabhuji, please accept our humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada and Vahini Raj. Please take over the call, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Radharani Mataji. Thank you, Pratyush Rana Prabhuji, for reading the translation today. Thank you, Sundaran Prabhuji. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yogam Sikshashtamekam Purusha Puranam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sariradari Kripambuditamaham Prapadye. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langete girum yat krupa tamaham mande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Shri Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we are seeing the glorious pastime of Matsya avatar, Matsya incarnation. So where King Satyavrata is expecting the Lord's boat to arrive and he is meditating on the Lord. That's the scene that's going on right now. So in this chapter, we saw how Parikshit Maharaj was, after hearing about the pastimes of Lord Hari in the form of Vamanadev, now Parikshit Maharaj is desiring to hear about the pastimes of Matsya Avatar, fish incarnation. And to the inquisitiveness of Parikshit Maharaj, Sukadeva Goswami is also elaborating very detailed pastime. So in this pastime, we can see how that Satyavrata Muni, the Lord wanted to appear, in the pastime of Matsya and then guide all the living entities, just like a spiritual master. So the Lord here is considered as a spiritual master. And so it is said that the shastras are favorable wind that can guide us, and then the boat basically is the one needs a boat to travel in the water. The boat is nothing but the the human form of the body that we have. So this human form of the body is a perfect boat to carry us to across the ocean of birth and death. And then the Shastras are favorable wind, and spiritual master is the captain of the boat who can guide us towards the other direction where we can safely land on the land and then be safe across the ocean of suffering, ocean of birth and death. So here, spiritual master in the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead himself is guiding Satyavrata, King Satyavrata, and all the living entities and Saptarishis, is guiding them towards, the whole pastime. It is in other religions also, like Christianity also, they have this kind of pastime. So we can understand that this particular Vedic, the Leela that Lord performed, it's very, very interesting and very, very, very appealing to other religions also. They also have similar pastimes, so they have probably taken from Vedic literature. So here in this pastime, we can see how Satyavrata Muni encounters the Supreme Lord first. So the Lord appears in front of him just like a small fish, appealing for a protection. So the king supposed to give protection to all living entities, not only for human beings, but all the animals also. So because the king is called Naradeva, he is God in a form of a human. So he's supposed to protect everyone regardless of the form, regardless of any kind of a background. So that's why in the court we see the judge, the eyes is covered. He cannot discriminate whether you're a human, whether you're an animal, whether you're poor, whether you're rich, whether you're educated. So regardless of anything, a king is supposed to protect. So from that perspective, Satyavrata Muni is protecting this fish, and then the fish grew larger and larger and larger until it becomes so huge that he understood that this is none other than Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, and then the Lord revealed himself, the motive or the cause behind his appearance. And the Lord said that there is going to be a pralaya, big pralaya. In Sanskrit, the pralaya term means the deluge of huge amounts of water. So such a deluge that the whole universe gets submerged into the water. So in this deluge, it looks like it's not. It is very huge that the Lord is, by using his own empowerment, he wants to save the Saptarishis, all kinds of living entities. And then he said, King Satyavrata, that, take some herbs, seeds. So seeds are basically that can be used to produce different kinds of plants, vegetables. So the seeds are so important. But nowadays, the vegetables and the fruit trees that we have, they're all seedless. So that means we are basically trying to end the existence of the cultivation. So the seedless is not so, it's very dangerous in terms of expanding or continuing the generations of the same plant, right? So, so here we can see from verse number 46 how the Lord actually promised that a gigantic boat will appear, and then all of you, along with the seeds and herbs, have to be entered into the boat, so that when the deluge comes, when the pralaya comes, then Lord can personally direct, drive as a captain of the ship, the Lord will actually take charge. So here we can see that from the verse number 46, the Lord appeared, and while king was meditating, the golden fish appeared in the ocean of Pralaya, and then there was like one big the fish had one big horn. It was said that was 8 million miles long. So it is, we can't even imagine how big is that. So because the Earth's circumference itself is not so long. So so here then the king Satyavrata, then he was as soon as he saw the Lord, and then the serpent Vasuki was being used as a rope, then he started offering prayers, Satyavrata Muni. So this is starting from the verse number 46. So we'll see what Satyavrata Muni is saying. So these verses, what we see today, is pertaining to a spiritual master. So how spiritual master is so important, and what is the quality of a spiritual master, how spiritual master is directs the living entities towards the Lord, and why is to be respected as good as the Supreme Lord. And all those details now Satyavrata Muni is sharing here. So Sri Raja Uvacha. So now Satyavrata, the king Satyavrata is sharing now. So his very beautiful prayers. So Anadi Avidya Upahata Atma Samvida. So he's saying that from time immemorial, we have lost ourselves in avidya. Avidya means ignorance in the material world, and we are suffering. Tanmula samshara parishramaturaha. So here he is saying that because of this cycle of birth and death, parishrama means we are working very hard, and also because when you work hard there is also miseries. So we are working hard, we are full of miseries because of this material bondage, samsara chakra, or the cycle of birth and death. Now he is accepting the Lord as Paramo Gurur Bhavan. So he is accepting the Lord as the supreme spiritual master. So basically, Lord is Adi Guru. He is considered the Adi Guru. He is the spiritual master. So he instructs all the spiritual masters. The knowledge comes from the Supreme Lord Himself. So that's why it is said that no one can manufacture a shastra. Dharmantu sakshat bhagavat pranitam. So Lord Himself has to give the shastra. So we cannot manufacture. We are supposed to just take the shastra that's coming from the lineage and be a transparent medium and explain it to others, but we cannot manufacture it because the Lord Himself He Himself creates the shastra. He Himself lives uh, by that shastra in many many pastimes. He shows examples so that we understand from Him how to even take the shastra. So in this case, King Satyavrata accepted him as the spiritual master. And so here Prabhupada quotes many verses of how spiritual master is a representative of spiritual Supreme Lord, and he has to be respected as good as the Supreme Lord. So in the morning Mangalarati we sing this Guru Vandana, like we say Sakshad Daritvena Samasta Sastrair Uktastata Bhava Yatayeva Sadbi Kintu Prabhu Priyayeva Tashya Vande Gurum Sri Charanaravindam. So Kintu Priya means because he is very dear. The spiritual master is very dear to the Supreme Lord, and he is most confidential. Therefore, Sakshat Haritvena, like he is also the Hari Tattva, meaning he has to be seen just how we see the Supreme Lord. So that way we respect him as good as the spiritual master. So that is the tattva. The spiritual master is not God, but he is the same potency because he is representing the spiritual master. So and then Satyavrata Muni goes on offering prayers. So in these prayers, he is basically emphasizing the potency of spiritual master. And in this case, the Supreme Lord Himself is a spiritual master. Just like Arjuna, Krishna himself is teaching. He's like a master teacher. He's teaching verse by verse. He's singing and he's answering questions. He's like taking a long class to Arjuna. It's special one-on-one class. So it's like a very loving father, loving spiritual master. So we can understand Satyavrata Muni is also Satyavrata, King Satyavrata also got this opportunity to learn directly from the spiritual master. So eventually, the Lord, in the form of Matsya incarnation, he is going to teach all the Vedic scriptures to Satyavrata, King Satyavrata. So now he's saying that how in the material world that we are all expecting some fruitive results. We do fruitive activities, but at the end there is only suffering. So this is basically the Prahlad Maharaj says, hope after, hope against hope. We try to chewing the chewed. We try to expect happiness again, the same thing, but we want something different, some different happiness, but that doesn't happen in the material world. And here he says, Janaha abhudaha ayam nija karma bandhanaha. So nija karma bandhanaha is basically accepting different forms of body because of my sinful activities or fruitive activities. And what is the expectation? Sukha ichchaya karma samhita. So we are expecting some material world, some happiness because of, and then we do some karma, fruitive activities. But what happens at the end? Samhita ashukam yat sevaya. So ashukam means at the end there is only distress. So and then on the other side, King Satyavrata is saying, Yat sevaya tam vidunoti ashan matim. So, but by rendering service to you, O my Lord, we can come out of this false desires for happiness. So, and then at the end, he's glorifying that the Lord can cut all the knots of this false hope for happiness, and he can give us the right knowledge. So he's saying, Asan matim grantim so bhinya. The granthi means the knot, the hard knot. So it says in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the first canto, it says Hrudaya granthim. So there is a hard knot in the heart. It is very difficult to uh, come out of that knot. Generally, knots are very difficult to open, right? So, but the spiritual master can open with a very sharp, razor sharp knowledge. The knowledge is considered like a sharp knife. So it can cut our tendency to do fruitive activities. It can cut our avidya, the ignorance that is causing us to work very hard in the material world. So similarly here, the Supreme Lord is considered the Drudyam sa sono guruhu. So again, Satyavrata is addressing the Lord as spiritual master who can cut the knot of false desires from the core of my heart. So imagine if somebody has a false hope and they're working against the false hope. You don't have to stop the person, but you have to stop the person's false hope so that he doesn't go against the false desires. So that is what the knowledge does. The knowledge doesn't stop the person from doing something, but in a way it just takes off the false hope that the person works in the right direction. Person goes and works in the positive direction. So that's the avidya that the Lord, even Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, we don't have to stop people from working, but then we have to give them sufficient knowledge. They understand what kind of work they have to do. So and then, so he goes on to explain how in the material entanglement, if one wants to be free, then he has to take to the service of the spiritual Supreme Lord. So, Iva Rudra Rodhanam. So, he is considering, he is giving an example here. So, when you go to a gold mine or a silver mine, when you take the gold particles, it won't be like a gold bar, pure gold bar. There will be a lot of mud mixed in it. So, what the people do, they put fire and then they extract the pure gold out of it, and all the mud then separated out. So similarly, the living entity is pure like a gold, but then is contaminated with all this avidya and false hope, false desires, which has to be purified. So the way to purify that is, as King Satyavrata is saying, by taking to the service of the Lord, so all this pious and impious both will be purified. So why we have to purify pious? Because by doing pious activities, we want something pious to happen to us, something good to happen to us. That is also a cycle that we are trying to create. We don't want to depend on the Lord, but we want to depend on our own power to protect ourselves. So that is again a karma bandhanaha, a cycle of fruitive activities. So that's why both pious and impious activities one has to completely free oneself. And then so now is glorifying the Lord as again Paramo Guru, again the spiritual master of all spiritual masters. So there are many beautiful verses today. We'll just go through a summary. We don't have much time. So and then so Satyavrata is glorifying that how in front of the Lord nobody can be compared. So not even demigods, not even the great teachers. None of them can be equivalent to the Supreme Lord. When Supreme Lord comes and gives you knowledge, then it is the topmost, perfect, and his mercy cannot be compared to one, even 1/10,000 of mercy uh, of the Supreme Lord, cannot be compared to an ordinary living entity. So, and then saying that now he's surrendering, he's saying that Sharanam Prapadye. So, Ishwaram Tvam Saranam Prapadye. Now, Satyavrata is saying, kindly accept my surrender and please guide me. So, the now Lord has taken charge. He's going to guide Satyavrata by giving the knowledge, and he's all just like he's guiding the ship, he's going to guide all the souls back to Godhead. So, now Satyavrata surrendered like Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshaishyami Masucha. So the Lord is going to guide King Satyavrata and all the rishis and all the living entities on the boat towards the supreme destination. So just like Prahlad Maharaj in the verse, he says the blind is leading the blind. Anda, so andashya. So here also Satyavrata is saying achakshur andashya yatha grantha krita. So now one person is taking another blind person as the spiritual master, and he is following. Everybody is following a blind. What is going to happen? Everybody is fall down in the going to fall down in a ditch. So that is what when you follow an ordinary living entity who does not understand the whole problem of life, how this whole life circle of birth and death happens, who is God and what is the purpose of life. If nobody, if the person doesn't know anything, then he is basically guiding the living entities into a ditch. So that is what is King Satyavrata is saying, that people do not know what is goal of life, but then he accepts somebody as guru, and who is basically abuddho means a foolish. He thinks he is very Buddha means intelligence. Abuddha means he thinks he is intelligent, but he is a foolish person. Tata janasya avidusho. So it's like no knowledge about goal of life, and people accept such people as spiritual masters. But on the other side, contrary, he is saying how the Supreme Lord Himself, is so wonderful that He has appeared us to guide. And then on the contrary, He is saying, you're just like a sun. So you can illuminate all directions, and we kindly accept you as a spiritual master. So just, He's contradicting the so-called false gurus in the material world, trying to guide everyone, but basically blind. But on the other side, the Supreme Lord, is mercifully trying to guide Satyavrata and all the rishis. So they are basically surrendering onto Supreme Lord. So, and then the verse 51 onwards, and he's explaining how a materialistic guru, when you go to him, he might, teach you about how to keep the body fit, how to have a good sense enjoyment, how to develop your economic ability, those things basically might interest foolish disciples. They want to continue their material existence in avidya, but on the other side, they are saying that your lordship, basically the Matsya avatar, he's giving the knowledge about the eternal life. And then intelligent people, uh, how one can take that knowledge and uh, stay in their original constitutional position. So nijam padam prapadyate yena jano nijam padam. So how they can stay in their original constitutional position. So we know the original constitutional position of the living entity is Jivera Swarupo Hoy Nityera Krishnadas. So one is eternally a loving servant of Krishna. So that relationship is always there. But we have to revive that relationship. So on the other side, in the material world, that the guru is not supposed to um, teach these things that temporary gives the material profit, or how to keep the body fit. This is not the science that guru is supposed to teach, right? So this is the point Prabhupada elaborates in the purport. So guru, if you look at um, Bhagavad Gita, that there are many verses that teaches about the difference between matter and spirit, and there are many verses that teaches about how to cut the cycle of this karma bandhanaha. It doesn't, in none of these verses we can see how to earn money and how to make profit or how to keep the body fit. The body has to be fit to the extent of using that body to make a permanent solution for our suffering. So that is the thing that here Satyavrata is elaborating. So we should understand, when we go to some guru and we see that he is giving some magical mantras to keep our body fit, or to give us a nice economic situations, that you will get a better life, better profits in business. Those things the guru doesn't have to give. Those are already available in material world. There are many people, those who guide on the economic development, but a spiritual master is not supposed to be guiding in that direction. So that is the essence in this verse that Satyavrata is saying. And then in the further verses from 52 onwards, that he's glorifying the Lord, that how Lord is in everyone's heart. So he is in everyone's heart. Sarva Bhutanam, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam, Ruddeshu Arjuna Tisthati. So he can guide, if someone is really interested to take the shelter of the Supreme Lord, he can guide from within the heart, and he can send a spiritual master who is really in the lineage, in the parampara. So that is, but on the other side, if we have our heart is not pure, if we have, and here Satyavrata is saying Baddha Kamaha. So Baddha Kama means is in the heart. If heart is not pure, then according to that only we will be reciprocating, will be desiring. So that is the reason why we are not able to get the right direction. So right spiritual master. So here we can understand, according to our heart, then we attract such instructor. So if your heart is pure, we have pure desires to fulfill the Lord, to again re-establish our relationship with the Lord. Then the Lord will send the right representative to guide us in the path of bhakti. So that is what Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yena Mam Upayantite. So that intelligence the Lord will give, but then we have to have that right disposition. So that is what Prabhupada is saying. So and then in the rest of the verses, we can see that the Satyavrata is basically surrendering uh, to the Supreme Lord and asking Lord to cut the knot from the core of their heart, the knot of the attachment to the material world, the knot of false desires, false hopes, all of that, and then take them to the destination of the right destination. So, as a captain is supposed to drive the ship towards the right destination. So they are asking the Lord to take us to the right destination by giving us the right knowledge. So now the Lord is basically Akila Bhagavan Guru. Like Kunti Maharani says, she glorifies Krishna, that Guru Akila Bhagavan Guru. So she says that Sri Krishna Krishna Vrishni Rishabhavani Druk Rajanya Vamsa Dahana Apavarga Govinda Godvija Surati Haravatara Yogeshwara Akilo Guru Bhagavan Namaste. So he is the Akila Guru, he is the Guru of everyone. So now they are asking that Krishna to the Matsya avatar to direct, and Sukadeva Goswami concluding that Lord explained about the absolute truth to Satyavrata Muni and all the rishis about Samhitas, Puranas, Sankhya Yoga, all of these knowledge about the matter and spirit, distinguishing matter and spirit, all this knowledge was given to all of them, including Satyavrata. And then this, how glorious is this pastime, that just by hearing this pastime, that we can cross over this ocean of suffering. As a Falastuti now, Sukadeva Goswami is saying that we can be delivered from all sinful reactions by hearing this transcendental pastime of Matsya Avatara. And finally, the last verse, he is offering obeisances to the Matsya incarnation. And then in this pastime, Matsya also restored the Vedic literatures to Lord Brahma. So it seems that the Lord Brahma, lost this Vedic literature, and then Lord restored it back to Lord Brahma. And that concludes this particular pastime. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vranda ki jai. वंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, devotees.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you all devotees for joining.